Hello, this is Education in Our Community. I'm Lora Sall, your host, and today, if you are really feeling like things are just going to the pits, I'm here with a young man that's going to help you change your mind. We're going to keep it real today, and we are going to speak in a way that makes you think you're sitting with either Van Jones, you might be
Oh,
thinking about the wonderful brother Don Lemon, or you might even imagine you're speaking to Mark Lamont Hill. Today, I'm going to convince you, and this young man is going to convince you that there is still hope out there. Welcome, Mark Hardy.
thank you so much. That was a wonderful introduction. I don't know if I've ever had one that nice.
Well,
Thank you.
when I was reading your wonderful book, Can I Be Real? It sparked the name of our show, which was Keeping It Real.
Mhm.
And it also sparked all kind of things in me. But before we discuss your wonderful book, I
Mhm.
want our audience to know about you. So can you tell us who Mark Hardy is?
Sure. Well, first, I'd like to say that yes, I have authored a book, but I really just feel like I had something to say. So I'm I've never envisioned myself being, a big time author or anything like that, but I do feel like I have something to say, and I feel like I'm able to help people in the process. So
Okay.
my name is Mark Hardy. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, and there I grew up, like a normal young boy, played all the sports, enjoyed time with my friends and things like that. And I went on to Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. And there, I would say, is where I really started to form my own opinions about society and really open my eyes to what's going on in our society and how we can, I guess, help instead of feeling hopeless all the time. Because I feel like a lot of us are hopeless in regards to injustices and things like that. And I don't want people to feel that way.
Okay.
So I wasn't thinking that yet in college. In college, I was still, taking all of this information in and being at a PWI, predominantly white institution, I had the opportunity to learn more about different cultures, especially the white cultures, because where I'm from. I went to school with very few white people, so it gave me some of that quote unquote real world experiences. Some people say, um, but I thoroughly enjoyed my time there. I learned a lot, and both in the classroom and out of the classroom, met some lifelong friends.
Now, what made you decide to move to the Bay Area?
Well, I work in education. I
Okay.
work at a middle school, and I had a job opportunity out here. And I had been in Indiana my whole life, and I was ready to experience something new.
Okay.
And I knew the Bay Area would really give me that,
Okay.
especially coming from such a conservative state.
Now, were you in a predominantly black community growing up?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, for sure, for sure.
Okay.
Hmm.
And once you moved to the Bay Area, tell me about the job you're doing associated with education.
Hmm. So I work at a middle school, and there I deal with the operations for the school. So I'm not a teacher, but I work in the back office and do a lot of the kind of boring stuff that the school has to do to keep running, like the state reporting, and logistics for the school. But I also coordinate the after school program, which I'm really passionate about because it gives me the opportunity to expose the students to things that they wouldn't normally experience during the school day or outside of school.
So you are a teacher, just not in the classroom.
I like to say I'm a educator.
Okay.
Yes, for sure. But classroom teacher, no. I let them handle that.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. And are you married?
I am not.
Are you in a relationship?
Yes.
And do you have family here in the Bay Area?
I have a cousin here in the Bay Area that I had met a couple times.
Okay.
But she's lived out here my whole life, so I didn't really know her that well. So
Okay.
that's been a good opportunity, getting to know her. And she doesn't live in the city. She lives in somewhere else in the Bay Area. So I'm sort of on my own.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Now that we have most of that out the way, I have to get to this.
Let's do it.
This book, Can I Be Real? Now, Mark, this book has so much information and so much insight. Have you ever had a reading to see if you were here before? Have you ever heard the old folks say, you've been born before, brother? Because this book is beyond your years, your biological years. Your insight is just phenomenal. Now, can you tell me, when did you first start compiling this information? Because it goes back and comes forward.
Well, I guess a lot of the information, I explain a lot of my experiences in the book. Just growing up on the east side of Indianapolis, where it's predominantly a black community, and migrating out of that, tight unit into, a world where I look around classroom and there's not another black student. So a lot of the experiences, I like to say I'm telling my truth in there.
Okay.
But I studied sociology in school, so I was always thinking with the mindset of what makes people think the way they do, what in our society controls our opinions and our ideas. That's always interested me, trying to figure out why people think the way they do and what leads them to that.
Okay.
And so when it came to the book, I like I said, I never thought I'd write a book, but I wanted to figure out a way that I could help influence a change in our society, whether it's a small change or major change. I just wanted to contribute something because I was tired of complaining. I was tired of seeing black people being killed by the police. And that's where it was in 2015. I want to say, and that's the problem. It's been so many instances where I don't even remember which one was okay, this is enough. But one that really hit home for me was Dylan Roof in South Carolina, when he went in that church and killed those 9 people during Bible study. That was an AME church in which I grew up in, and my grandmother is a faithful member who went to Bible study all the time, and it was around that same size. So that one really, really, really hit home for me, because it really angered me too. That's somebody's grandmother in there, dude. You are tripping. You are tripping. So it was that really, I like to read. I have something to say. I'm just gonna get it out there. Let's see where it goes from here.
How long did it take you to write this? Now, I'm asking you that question, but I also realize what in this book has been inside of you forever. I mean, it's like
That's true.
It's like you've been here before. And so how long did it take for you to compile this version?
It took me about, from when I sat down and started my research on how to even make a book, and how to get it published. And I'd say about a year and a half.
Oh my God.
Yeah, about 18 months or so.
Wow. That is unbelievable. First of all, what I love about this book is that you're not angry. I don't hear anger in here. I hear hope. I hear a lot of solutions. I love how you express what's been going on and also gave ideas as to what people can do about it. I love how you combined other quotes from other people and made it relevant to what you were speaking about in those chapters. I just think it's a beautifully written history for all of us. And was there something in you that felt you needed to speak directly to white people, or did that just kind of come out as you were writing the book?
You know, when I started, that's a good question. When I started, I was more so, I was thinking like, you know, I feel like we're not totally understood. And I feel like people have felt that way before. And I wanted to be able to explain why I feel the way I do about certain subjects. And I wanted to do it in a way that I'm not sugarcoating anything, or I'm not politically correct. I just wanted to be honest. I wanted to be
real.
Yes. No pun intended. I wanted to keep it real, because I feel like we sugarcoat so many things, and I wanted to make sure it still came from a sincere place and a place of, you know, let's figure out what we can do, instead of just, you know, me, quote unquote, complaining about some topics. So I just wanted to come from a sincere place, but also be honest, because I mean, it's funny you say I don't sound angry, and I wasn't trying to portray being angry in the text, but inside and at some points I was angry, and because I'm human, you know, and it's just, you can only step on my neck so much without me telling you to stop, you know. And
you said it that way in the book as well, but you said it in a way where if anybody was offended by anything you said, they're the problem, because you said it in a very kind, loving, real way, so that you shouldn't have been offensive to anybody. If anything, it should cause a person to look inward and see where they stand in everything that's going on and how they can make a difference.
That's true. That's very true. But we are still dealing with the topic of race and injustice. So people have been, you know, it has made them uncomfortable a little, which I expected. But I'm trying to break that down so that, you know, forget all the, you know, politically correct stuff. You know, I'm sincere. I respect you, but I'm also going to explain why I feel the way I do. And one thing in the book, I wanted people to realize that these are my thoughts and my opinions. I don't come to speak for Black America. I'd be very foolish to think I should do that. That's not what I'm doing. I'm explaining my personal opinions. And, you know, I wanted to add, you know, brainstorming ideas to each chapter to, you know, kind of get people thinking that way. And that's my whole goal, thinking, okay, what in my life can I do, you know, to help these overall issues, because they are very large issues, and they're not going to be changed overnight. But you know, if we're not doing anything, we're not getting anywhere and nothing's happening, you know. Tupac once said, he said, I don't promise to change the world, but I will ignite the brain that will change the world. And that was my approach to it. I'm not claiming to, you know, be an expert, but I do believe my opinions are valid and my ideas should be heard.
Absolutely. And that's what came out as I was reading. The reason I say you're old spirit is because, you know, I grew up in the Midwest. I come from a neighborhood that was all black, and I was amongst the first to be bused to my school. I mean, so much so where they did a front page article simply because I raised my hand to answer a question in my second half of sixth grade. And yet, 40 years forward, we're still having this conversation. And so as I was reading your book, I was hearing your truth and I was remembering so much of what was going on back then and what is still going on now. And I was saddened by the fact that you have to still have this conversation, but I was so proud and so comforted by the fact that you, a young man, had the courage to say it, you know, and to put it in this form so that anybody can read it. And so I want our audience to recognize that this is a book by my young brother here. And I have to call you brother. You know, back then.
No, that's real.
Yeah. I can remember when there was a transition from just meeting people to where if you were black, you had to shake somebody's hand or call them your brother or sister. And so I'm old school. And when I was reading this, I said, oh, this brother is going someplace. And like I said in my introduction, when I think about people like Van Jones or Mark, M-A-R-C, Lamont Hill, I think about you now, you know, because those were just real brothers who were expressing themselves in a way where you can help but listen. You can help but be open to what they had to say. And so what I want you to share with the audience, what is it you really want people to get from this book?
Well, the first thing is I want people to find the courage to have real dialogue, because I feel like that's a good place to start. Because if you don't know what you don't know, and it's an uncomfortable topic, race is an uncomfortable topic, so people shy away from asking those questions, even if they are sincere. I feel like a lot of times, you know, they sincerely want to know the answer to something, but it's just too uncomfortable for them. And you know, if you're expressing, you know, things that are uncomfortable, you have to be willing to listen to things that may be uncomfortable to you as well. So that's the first thing I want to do. Let's just be honest. Let's put all the politics aside. Like, let's be honest. People are dying, you know, and for no reason, you know. So that's the first thing. Let's just be honest. Let's be real. Let's put it all out on the table, and let's discuss it. Because then, once we get it all out, and once we're comfortable enough having these conversations, then we can try collaborating for some type of solutions. And I know a lot of people may feel helpless or hopeless, but I like to think if you're not doing anything, then, you know, of course you're going to stay where you're at. Of course, nothing's going to get better. Of course, 40 years from now, the next generation is still going to be fighting the same things you fought, you know, and that's, I mean, don't complain then if you're not going to do anything.
Yes.
And that's hard for a lot of people to swallow. And it was hard for me to swallow because I was like, man, all I'm doing is complaining. What am I doing? Like, I'm not doing anything. You know, I'm not, you know, trying to help close this opportunity gap that's keeping a lot of people that look like me impoverished and uneducated. And
Is that what inspired you to start your program, your after school program?
well, that's what led me to it for sure.
Okay.
Because I realized that dealing with the youth is my passion, and
Yeah.
I've been able to work with all grade levels, and I like to think I'm building a whole student. You know, in the classroom, they're learning their math, their science, their English, and I try to bring them things about life that'll help them, you know, get through this maze of life, and I want them to have a fair opportunity doing so.
Have any of the people around you, the administrators, the students, the parents, read your book?
Yes, for sure. I've got a lot of students who have read it, and they definitely enjoy it. I've definitely had some colleagues read it who have enjoyed it, and now it's just all about implementing. You know, what are we doing? Let's think about what we're doing so that our students can have the same opportunities as the students in Mountain View or Sunnyvale. You know. Yeah.
Is it in the school library yet?
Well, I've given it out to a lot of students.
Okay.
So a lot of students have it. I will be donating some to my school for sure, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why must it be donated? How can we get it into the school system? I think it needs to be in every school library, anywhere in the Bay Area. Can I be real? I think it also needs to be part of the curriculum in a variety of schools where the teachers require it to be read by the students. What's beautiful, even though it's your view, it's also not inciting a riot. It's not causing anybody to want to throw it up against a wall or anything. If anything, it should cause you to want to sit down and come up with your own ideas to do more. And I just think it's really important that this book be read. I am so happy that we stopped at your booth at the book fair in Berkeley.
I am too.
Berkeley. And I'm just really, honored to have you here. And so I think this book needs to be out there and needs to be read. How are you such a polished gentleman? You come from people who are originally from the Midwest, or they're coming from the South, or?
Well, a lot of my people are from the Midwest for the most part. My father and his family were, from like Virginia, but most of my mom's family is from the Midwest, and I mean that's where I can, I guess, credit my quote unquote polished demeanor, because I mean they raised me with manners. They raised me with manners. I knew that, I wasn't going to be getting away with things, or like I knew right from wrong, and I knew the consequences that came from doing wrong. So it was just, they raised me with manners, and I've learned, in my young adult years that, you're going to get much farther if you're just respectful.
Yes.
And you're, you know, accepting of other people and genuine. Like, I'm not going to hold myself back. I have enough things in society that are trying to hold me back. I'm not going to hold myself back. So,
and that comes across in this book. A lot of respect.
I'm glad.
A lot of appreciation for who you are as a young Black man. What else would you like our audience to know about Mark Hardy? What's next for you?
That's a very loaded question. Can I Be Real has given me something to be extremely passionate about outside of the hours from 9 to 5. So I have a lot of ideas as far as expanding, you know, what Can I Be Real is and what it means for the youth. So like we talked about earlier when we were talking about donating and having it infused in curriculums and things like that. And I would love for those opportunities and to come, and I would love for that to be possible, but I'm also not waiting on anybody to give me those opportunities. So I've got a lot of plans that I'm working on as far as programs that I'm trying to build for the youth that, and this is all youth, because I want to, number one, empower my young Black boys and girls, you know, so that they're able to grow and be successful people who find their passions as well and aren't, you know, stuck in our cookie cutter system of what it means to grow in America, you know. But I also want, you know, people outside of, you know, Black or Latino students, so white students, because I also want to, you know, explain cultural acceptance and try to get them to be more accepting and collaborative and show them that, you know, if they are, it'll not only benefit minorities, but also them as well. You know, I feel like we have some brilliant young minds, and you have to provide those minds with the same, you know, opportunities that other people have, and it's just going to advance our whole society, in my opinion. You know, once we can get there. So, I've got that. I've got some other forms of art that I'm working on, that'll tie in with Can I Be Real and still be under the Can I Be Real brand. So, I'm working.
Okay. Okay.
It's a process, but.
Well, once again, tell us the best way to get one of these books. Are they being sold on Amazon? Are they in Marcus bookstores? Are you familiar with Marcus?
They can definitely be found on Amazon. They can also be found on my website, www.canibereal.com.
Okay.
So those are the two main places right now that you can easily get them.
Know that Mark Hardy is as real as it gets. I want everybody to get this book, read it, look for his contact information on the screen, and by all means, follow up. Keep in mind this name, Mark Hardy. You will hear about him on a national level. I believe that. Thank you for coming.
No, thank you.
It was a pleasure.
This was wonderful. I really enjoyed it.